Hello, my name is Francis Fox, and I'm a trained remote viewer, a galactic shaman, which means that I kind of know a few of the laws having to do with off planet and shamanism and on planet Earth is understanding the laws of this planet, the baseline laws, the ones that Jesus Christ understood, the balance of the elements. He used the element of water to start his mission. Um, and he removed spirits before he gave healings, shamanism, Ayurvedic medicine, Chinese medicine. They also remove spirits, even though when we hear about those medicines in this country, nobody ever talks about it because we're very delicate, having to do with that issue of spirits. Well, you know what? You need to get over it. Today, we're talking about fires in California. But look how interesting what I found. And if do me a favor, if somebody's going to end up cutting my head off, don't dump me on 8th Street. I don't know why I'm saying that. 8th Street is an area in Miami that's very Hispanic. It's actually really Cuban. And people come here and they go visit 8th Street because it's very typical of Cuban stuff and food and art and objects. And I don't know why I just said, if you end up cutting my throat, don't dump me on 8th Street. Actually, Coconut Grove would be good because we have here a lot of plants and animals and big trees, and 8th Street is very artificial, uh, concrete. So don't dump me there. So I'm going to go ahead and put myself out there. Weather, it's not weather manipulation that's happening in California, even though that may be happening also. It's a manipulation of the elements. You guys need to understand all of this. So this is what I sketched because a lot of the people that follow me live in California and they wanted help. So the fires are there where you see that little red. This was this afternoon at 6:15. But look how interesting. I sketched a fissure, a portal in California. And the portal started opening up, and here's the whole thing where somebody's going to take me down. Um, darn. The name of where it started is in, well, you can see it there on the map. And it was started by bombs. Somebody threw bombs there and opened up a portal. And then you, of course, have your fires going, but they are a symptom. Like I said to everybody, we have to make sure we don't just take care of symptoms because we're not going to get any place. You have to go to the generator. And we do have a generator, which is the portal. Now, the portal, this is how I sketched it originally. Okay, Los Angeles is here. This is where the fires are. So we were working on putting out the fire. We did not get any place. We didn't make a dent. And I said, okay, so we're not really hitting causal. We're not making a dent. And then we did to put out the fire with water and ice. Nada, nada. And so I said, let's change the mantra to hate, even though we hate. And then we were able to make a little bit of a dent on the fire, not a lot. But the important thing in California is not that fire. What could take down California, the entire California, plus the United States, is this fissure, which started right there. And between my glasses and my magnifying glass, I can't tell you exactly where it is. San Bernardo, wait a minute, I have it here. Sacramento. That's where it started. There were some bombs strategically placed. They opened a portal to hell because what's happening underneath the earth there is the underworld. And it's like the apocalypse, the red and the spirits that have not been sent to the light, and they're the ones that give us troubles, even though they're not necessarily bad beings, but they're lost and they're controlled by the devil. So anyway, after we did work for 20 minutes, we were able to get the energy in the portal to change to green. We did not really put a dent on the fires in Los Angeles. But we're going to have to get, how interesting, we're going to have to get sophisticated. We're going to have to get down to basics, having to do with keeping ourselves, our physical body healthy, and our countries healthy, and our people healthy, our children healthy, our environments healthy. And for that, you have to work with the elements. But apparently, there's bad guys that know a heck of a lot of more about the elements than most people, most modern people do. So somebody is messing around in California to the extent that, and that's what they were looking for. They were looking to stimulate, to open a gap into the underworld. Remember all those movies that you love where the adventure, I'm babysitting a dog. I went to the dentist today. Venezuela's interesting, so I'm a little bit overwhelmed. Okay, so the underworld has never been a great place. The underworld has layers between the underworld and the upper world, the world that we live in. In the Bible, they refer to the underworld as down there. It literally is. The underworld has a lot of very unhappy beings. And so my group, we're going to start to take these beings to the light and reduce the fire there. I don't know to what extent we're going to be successful, but we did make it go from the red to the green. We're not talking the fires here. The fires are a symptom of this fissure, of an opening of the physical dimension where we live in our houses and our buildings and our schools, an opening, a portal. You guys call it a portal. This is one hell of a big blankety blank portal to the underworld that now for a while is green because we worked on it, but it will turn red because we didn't spend enough time, because I had this chat and then I have 2 classes and then I have to get back to the Venezuela thing. So somebody, powerful people, know more about the elements and about the structures on planet Earth. Most people, if you say there's civilizations underneath in the inside of the planet, they will laugh at you. They will think you're dumb. What is the matter with you? Don't you have something better to do? I think my son used to tell me that with certain things I would say. He said, don't you have anything better to do? Why don't you be a regular mom? Throughout history, civilizations have understood about the underworld. People think there's an opening to the underworld. What? North Pole? The Galactics know about it. And nice modern people who dress well and live in really nice houses that are usually almost all white. I live in an all white apartment, so I'm not trashing that decor. Don't know any of this. We love the simpleness of Jesus Christ. We're not going to live like him. Come on. We're being hypocrites. But we're not just being hypocrites. We're not making sense. We're not congruent. One thing I liked about the Buddha, and we're not really sure that he said this, but he said in the past when he lived that he didn't really want his teachings documented because they might not be contextually valid in the future. And there's an awful lot of stuff that's going on that's not contextually valid. We need to get updated, and for that, we probably have to go to old stuff. So, what's going on in California? Somebody's playing games to take down this country. And they place bombs strategically. Are those ley lines? I don't know enough about those things. I'm not supposed to. But some of the nice guys need to start learning about this. It can't just be the bad guys. Okay? What do I mean by bad guys? The guys that do stuff that they're not willing to admit to. Those are the bad guys. If you're not willing to admit to it, then you're doing something that's not nice. And I really, but they're getting away with it. Okay? So, yes, we got to get these fires down. But I have to tell you, those fires in LA are nothing compared to what can happen if this fissure is allowed to continue to grow. And if the bad guys continue to play with their incendiary devices, their bombs, whatever they're called correctly. Now, if you want to do a if you want to do a mantra to help out the fires, the mantra is not, uh, please God help us with our intention to reduce the fires in California, which is what we were doing. You have to do the mantra, even though we hate, we love and accept ourselves. Hate, remember, is the extreme, when there's extreme of the element of fire. And then you can, on the physical dimension, end up having a physical fire, which is what you have in California. So if you want to help out there, you just take the mantra, even though we hate, I love and accept myself, and you direct that to here, and then you visualize big chunks of ice on top of it. You visualize that you're a fireman with a hose, and you can visualize this entire area very small, and you're able to hose it down or ice it down very easily. Remember, in the other dimensions, which is where you're going to be working with the elements, there is no measurements. So you can have something the size of the Empire State Building, and you can work with it with no problem. Just in your head, you make it an inch tall, and you're working with it. And you can call it superpowers, but it's really working with basic laws, which you all need to learn. So let's go ahead and do 10 minutes of Even Though We Hate, and send it to Los Angeles, where the fires are. I don't need to know where they are in the map. We got all caught up with the different cities. It's not important, because your intention will get that mantra, which is to reduce fire, to the proper place, which is where there are fires. And then if you want to get creative, you can get some gold thread, and you can start, actually, no, we started to close the fissure, but it was going to open up again. That fire is not going to let it stay closed. That fire that's underneath in the underworld. The apocalypse is all about the underworld. The apocalypse is all about mixing the very controlled modern life we have in the physical with the underworld. Can we please address it? And please don't tell me, Mom, don't you have something better to do? Okay, so we're going to do 10 minutes. Even Though We Hate, I Love and Accept Myself. We're going to send it to where the fires are in California, and we will feel better, and we will have done something. If any of you are adventurous, you might want to go into the fissure, which is what we did at the end of the chat we just did 15 minutes ago. And that's where they were able to see all the spirits that weren't happy. And I had already seen the issue of the planting of bombs to open this up. And then I'm sure they're doing other stuff, which I think some people have already identified, and they say it's like Hawaii. I have no idea. I can just give you the information that I get. Okay. And we're not going to use the music that has all the water. We're going to use the music with the indigenous dancing with their feet, and you can pretend that with your feet, you're putting out the fire. You're going to feel better. The least that's going to happen is that you're going to feel better. Okay. I'm going to put the music on, and then we're going to go ahead and start. Okay. So if somebody's going to slit my throat, do not dump my body or my head on 8th Street, Coconut Grove, where there are lots of trees and animals. I think my handler is gone. It's been really quiet. He got really aggressive, saying that basically he knew his time was over, but he was going to take me down with him. Not going to happen. You know why? It's not going to happen because I have no intentions of getting taken down. And this is a planet where intention creates reality. I could use some help in the office. Sometimes I want to kind of give up because I make so many mistakes. I'm covering too many bases. But anyway, this is not a litany of complaints. I'm happy to be here and I'm happy to do this. And I want to remind you again that one catastrophe can wipe out everything. So why don't we start learning a lot more about them? And why don't we start talking to the catastrophes? There's a reason why there's an eye in the middle of a hurricane. Okay? It's not just to make people go, oh my God, that looks like an eye. Yes, it does. There's consciousness there. And there have been hurricanes and fires where you can see the face of the devil. And yet, bottom line, if we get a catastrophe, we need it. If we didn't have those fires in California, I would have not done this sketch and we would have not found out that there's a fissure there that can take us all down and that it's done purposefully. And so you say that's a big price to pay. Yeah, losing the entire country is also a big price to pay. So let's not update our computer. Let's widen our lens on the other dimensions. A lot of that information is already there. And that's one of the reasons I and many other people, including my followers, are here to use these baseline, very simple techniques that work because they're working at the level of cause. Okay, we will see you again. Probably not tomorrow unless there's something major happening. Let me tell you about Venezuela. No, got to tell you about Venezuela. Ah, so today we did our first map of Venezuela because I spoke to a Venezuelan text and I got hysterical and into a panic attack that was transferred from her. And there was something happened in Venezuela. And they said maybe they had kidnapped the female of the people that were elected to the new government. And then it turned out that they found her, whatever. I'm not really sure what happened, but all of Venezuela was in an uproar emotions. So anyway, I sketched Venezuela and this is what it looked like. This is the 3 lower chakras. This is black magic that was done. And this black magic has to do with natural resources in Guyana, which apparently Guyana, by the way, is a portal, a really bad portal. Oh my God. I think it was Guyana where we were told not to go in and not to try to fix anything because it would take us down. So anyway, so this is the thing. These are spaceships. Then we went ahead and 15 minutes later, after the mantras, okay, we got the triangle that represents spirituality, the 3 top chakras, was getting pulled down into Venezuela. This is 15 minutes later, mantras, visualizations, and then another 15 minutes later, and we got the Merkaba, Star of David. The Star of David is not a Jewish symbol. It's used in Judaism. It's 6,000 years old, and it means completion and centering. When you have those 2 triangles come together, your entire system, the part at the top that represents your spirituality, which really means not physical, and the bottom part that has to do with your life in the physical dimension, they get aligned with the heart chakra in the center and they create the Merkaba, the 6-pointed star. It's really good. We got that this afternoon in Venezuela. We need to try to do that. Tomorrow I'm going to start with the United States, having to do with the inauguration and talking about working with the planet and natural things. We're going into the golden age, age of Aquarius, not supportive of military, not supportive of military. The laws will not support military. I don't know what's going to happen. So if too many of our plans include taking over other countries, using our military to defend, to invade, we're not going to be supported in the other dimensions. The power in the physical dimension doesn't translate into the other dimensions. If you do not work with the laws in the other dimensions, which are now changing, it doesn't matter what you do, it's not going to work. I'm not even sure long term. I'm not sure a short term. Okay. So that's it. That's what I'm here for. It is exhausting though, because the gap between what you need to know, what we all need to know as a society and as a planet, and what we know is big. It's big, but a lot of that information is already out there. And a lot of the civilizations that we admire from the past, they knew it and they worked with it. We just look at the objects and say, we don't really understand this. It's totally aligned with the solstice and planets, but we don't believe in astrology. Therefore, isn't it interesting that it's aligned with the solstice it's beyond interesting. Okay.